Oh, yeah. We're
it is.
taking Dick Costolo back to Cobo Hall.
Yeah.
Circa 1980, long before he went to the University of Michigan, long before he became the CEO of Twitter. That was your first concert?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Chicago was mine, 1984, Nassau Coliseum.
Wow. That's a good concert. I like that.
Wow. By the way, in case you're wondering if...
A lot of people probably don't even know who Chicago is now, but they were awesome.
Oh, they were great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to insult Chicago. They're
No,
awesome.
no.
I'm just saying,
And not the
people
town.
know who Journey is, but they might not know who Chicago is.
Yeah, you're right. Journey is still... But we're still dating ourselves in a way by mentioning that.
I think significantly.
In case you are wondering if this was a good idea for you to do this show.
The Eisen font? Or the
Well,
show?
we're about to do that. We're about to get to that. But since you stepped on the set of the Rich Eisen show, Twitter stock has gone up 14 cents. Okay, so that's the bump.
Cause
I
and
provide.
effect.
Yeah, I think so. What else could it possibly be?
There's nothing else has happened.
And wait till you now agree to what I have proposed for over a year.
You have.
Is because the number of times I'm sarcastic on Twitter or anyone is sarcastic
We've had
on
conversations
Twitter,
about this.
and people just go crazy, and you're just like, come on, Ace, I was being sarcastic. If you gave me a font, the Eisen font is what I'm trying to call it, Helvetica, whatever you care to choose.
Whatever we care to choose.
I choose Helvetica. That's my go-to font. But
you have a go-to font?
You
wow.
don't. You
no,
don't.
I don't.
You
I got
don't?
nothing. No. If I was asked in a pinch, I'd say like Arial Bold, but that would be a mistake probably.
Well, again, that's why you're in management and I'm not. There you go bold, and I go home with a Helvetica.
That's why you sit in the big chair.
But in all seriousness, don't you want to change fonts so people can at least express themselves with a different font? Give me a different way to express myself on Twitter?
It's a good idea. You'd have to have a universal sarcasm Eisen font.
Okay.
Like you don't want people, you know,
right,
like who typing in right to left languages using a different font for sarcasm, because then it can get all confused.
So you're talking, it's because you're international that this can't happen?
No, I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying, you know, it's got to think these things through.
But in all seriousness, let's make this happen. It makes people's lives easier because you could also have different fonts for other emotions.
For all sorts of things.
Right.
Dick, you could also charge for the fonts or colors, and then
see, now I knew there was going to be a business model attached to it.
There you go.
I want colors.
No, the stock just went up. It went up again. It just went up again. We have some questions from actual Twitter users for the Twitter CEO at Dick C. Let's check on the first one from at Kalidos_way, asking you, why can't we have the edit button?
Yeah, so we've actually had a bunch of conversations about this internally, and my sense is it messes up conversations that start to happen, and people go back and say like, well, I'm going to go back and change what I said so that this conversation doesn't start to pan out this way. But the conversation is unfolding in real time. So I don't love that idea. People, if you want to delete it and retype it, that's fine. But going back and changing history 2 years later, a year later, a minute later, like when would you cut it off? It gets too complicated. I just don't think it's a good idea.
That's an interesting response. Let's get another question.
It's an interesting response, meaning you don't care for it?
No, I do care for it. It's just one I wouldn't think that it's the answer to it.
Yeah.
It kind of comes back to accountability on some of the conversations that you're having.
I mean, like when can you stop editing it? After like a minute, after 5 minutes, after, I went to sleep and woke up and now I want to edit it. A year later, you know what I mean?
I'd like to edit my response to you because that was infused with different ways that you could look at it, like an interesting response. That was, no, I just wouldn't think that that is the answer. I would think that essentially that the tweet shouldn't be just an indelible mark that's out there that can only be erased with
delete it and then type a new one in.
All right, here's another question. I want this is from @TheJamesDixon. I want the live Twitter experience when watching sports delayed. Can you invent a pause for any number of minutes feature, sort of like make a DVR Twitter?
Twitter DVR. So this is something we actually built internally about a year ago for TV events, for like live events, precisely what James Dixon is referring to. And we're playing around with different ways to introduce it into some of the TV stuff we're doing. So that may actually be a thing that that you see on the platform. I don't have a specific date for it, but that's something we have built internally and have toyed with.
Do we have any more questions for
Well,
Dick
we did
Costolo?
have one. Somebody asked about his favorite song, but we got that one out there.
Okay.
There's a few more. We'll pull some up and
Okay.
get them up for the next.
In the
segment.
meantime, you're watching sports.
Yes,
On
I'm watching
Twitter?
sports on Twitter
So
a
that's
lot.
your second window.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be your second
Yeah.
window of choice. Why do you think it's become so popular? What is it plugging into for people that having that second window open during a game
it's
is
like
for?
I remember. I'll tell you. You mentioned you were with Snoop Dogg at the Super Bowl, so now I'm gonna.
Go.
I got to sit next to Bill Simmons once at the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And with Twitter, everyone gets to sit next to Bill Simmons at the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else, and Trey Wingo, and you, and everyone else, and and the players, and it's awesome. I mean, to be able to do that when you're in your living room watching the game, and see these conversations that are happening, and some of them are, you just see these people are super witty and intelligent in the moment, right when some event happens. It's just awesome to participate in that.
So you feel like you're watching with anyone that
You're watching with anyone you want to watch with, and it's usually the experts, your friends, and the rest of the world's experts in the topic.
And it's a way to express yourself too, in that regard.
Yeah, you can jump into the conversation with Bill and you and Trey and all these guys who are.
or people can mute us as well. That's their prerogative.
Or they can mute you.
In that regard. We're gonna take a break, and if you could stick around for 5 more minutes, can you do that? Why not? Because again, the stock is now.
It just keeps going up.
Since you came on this set, Dick, since you came up on this set, it's now 15 cents. It's now 15 cents, which
Another penny.
Pennies add up.
They add up.
I don't need to tell a CEO that.
You don't need to tell a CEO
The Far East
that.
markets aren't even open. Wait till they open tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
Keep going.
Oh my gosh.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
Oh
Look
yeah.
at you.
Dang.
Please. Please, just find another question to ask Dick Costolo. Let's show that we have a house in order when a man like of his stature comes in here, please.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. 60 seconds. We come back a few more minutes with the CEO of Twitter right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.